Hi there. My name is Ben Gottfredson. I help run Snowflake's startup program. Thank you all for joining us today at this Build 2024 demo day. We went out and handpicked three really exciting startups that doing pretty groundbreaking work in the Snowflake ecosystem. And we've invited them here to tell us about what they're building, what they're up to, and actually demo their app running on Snowflake. So our aim with this is to show off the cool work being done by startups in the Snowflake ecosystem to a wide audience. We've done these demo days in the past before. We've helped these startups find new users and potential investors, and we want to replicate that success. That's kind of our goal and why we're doing this. We're also joined by three leading VCs who focus on data and AI, who will be watching these demos with me, and we'll be asking questions of each team as far as format goes. So each startup's going to have 4 minutes to show us their product. It's going to be bang, bang, quick. Then we'll leave time for questions from our VC audience. And speaking of our VC friends, I would love to introduce you all. So Elaine, let's start with you. If you could just please share a quick intro on yourself and a bit about Alt Capital.
My name's Elaine. I'm a partner here at Alt Capital. We're a new venture fund founded by Jack Altman earlier this year. So it's 150 million fund one. I focus a lot on data AI, infrastructure, et cetera, and have been investing for over 7 years in companies like Artis and Workato previously. So excited to be here.
Good to have you. Next, we have Jordan with Redpoint. Jordan, welcome. Please tell us about yourself and tell us about Redpoint.
Great to be here. My name is Jordan. Redpoint, I'm a partner on the early stage team focused on seed Series A investments. We've been around for 25 years and have been fortunate to be early investors in companies like Snowflake, along with Stripe, Twilio, HashiCorp, ClickHouse, Mistral, and a bunch of others. Prior to Redpoint, worked in 4 startups in engineering, product, and pre-sales roles, so places like Palantir, RelateIQ, and C3.ai.
Good deal. Jordan, thanks for joining us. Last but not least, we have Shravan, who is a former colleague of mine. Welcome. Can you please share a little bit maybe about your journey to investing and your focus at IVP?
So IVP has been around 45 years. We are a venture growth firm, so slightly later than AltCap and Redpoint. And prior to IVP, I was a PM at Snowflake, where I worked with Ben. And in a prior life, I actually worked with the same company as Jordan at C3, though we did not overlap at the time. And at IVP, I focus mostly on infrastructure software and AI, including companies like Perplexity, Base10, and Glean. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, small world. All right, without any further ado, let's get this thing started and let's have some fun. So first off, of the startups, we're going to be having Enrique, the CTO and co-founder of Lang AI, join us. Lang AI leverages Snowflake data to bring product, customer interactions, and revenue into actionable insights. Enrique, welcome. Excited to have you. And I'll hand it off to you to take us through your demo.
Thank you very much, Ben. Yeah, thank you very much for having me. At Lang, we have companies such as Build, Hims, or Guild.com leverage their customer data that they are already storing to extract insights that can increase revenue. So after several years working with customer support, where the focus was on cost optimization, we decided to make a pivot to make this partnership with Snowflake, where the reason behind that was like all the data that can be connected to these insights is already living in Snowflake, and then we can bring the AI agents to our customer to tap into these insights. So for the sake of the demo, we have created a synthetic data set of a little bit over 2,000 survey responses for customers that stopped purchasing from our company, and then we will go into our native app. On our native app, we can create multiple agents that will focus on different aspects of your data. So we could have a cross-selling agent that can identify opportunities among your products, or another agent that will check and identify like the main contact reasons. And for this demo, again, we're gonna focus on a retention agent that will try to understand why customers could stop purchasing from us. Creating an agent is as simple as doing like a couple of clicks on the website, on the UI, on the native app. And for for a retention agent, once you have your agent up and running, it will start analyzing your data, picking up insights that we can go and study, and then with this insight we can also identify like new trends, what's going up, what's going down, and also we can even go deeper into those and find the evidence behind these insights. So also making sure that no LLM has any hallucinations, and then we can identify like shipping issues. In this case, from the retention agent, as I was saying, we have like poor in-store experience or shipping and delivery issues and environmental impact concerns. So if we click on the shipping issues, we could see like the server responses in this case, but any other data that the clients had. And the beauty of that is that all this is happening inside their account where basically all the data is living. We believe that you will not have proper insights or actionable insight unless you have the full context, and the full context is now living in Snowflake. So that's where we are, and that's where all the computation is happening also. So like when I was saying that this is the most secure way to extract all this insight, means that there's no data ever leaving your Snowflake account. Everything is secure inside of Snowflake. We are using the latest Llama models through a Snowflake Cortex. So you can see the insights here, and then you can also even like go deeper, trying to understand how these insights are behaving in different segments of your clients. And lastly, last also but not least, you have also the option to get all these insights or a summary of these insights in your Slack account. So the agent will post all these, a summary of your insights into your Slack so they can meet where your team is. But again, you can always come back to the UI, further refine the search, or ask more questions to the LLM.
We're going to open up the floor to questions, either go off mute and on camera or in the chat.
Hey, Enrique, impressive demo. Would love to maybe dive into the use cases a little bit more. You showed several different types of agents like contact reasons, retention, cross-selling, and would love to just hear a little bit more. What is the primary sort of pain point that you're seeing resonating most with customers at this point?
Sure. So I think we are working with different partners, building the different AI agents. I think basically the main goal is like, how can we make agents that will actually be tied to tangible revenue increase? Like it's not only like getting insights. So like let's say like the cross-selling opportunities for customers that have multi-product, like an insurance company that can have like house insurance and can detect like if we can identify these customers that suddenly are in some sort of like life stage where they also want to like get like a car insurance or something like that. That's something very interesting. And then also like the retention agent was also like very resonating with several clients. But I think as a tagline, it could be mostly that like if you have something that can be closely related to revenue, like how can you make it like, can you measure the ROI easily?
Can you talk about, are you replacing a vendor when you sell into customers, or what is the status quo pre and post Lang?
I think we are more than replacing a vendor. I think we are enabling like we are enabling or augmenting some of the roles that some people are already doing. Like if you are like the cross-selling, or like if you are working as a PM that want to understand like your churn, or like want to like dig deeper on some of your product verticals, and you want to understand like customer support, like the reason why like customer friction, or like the as I was saying, the retention. I think we are helping, for instance, in this case, like product managers to do their work in a faster way or like more efficient, and they can also get the relevant insights faster, but also like be with more confidence that they have actually analyzed the whole data instead of like working right now with just like a subset of the data that they will like put on ChatGPT or so, or like just manually analyze like 50, 100 documents. So with that, we can make like more exhaustive. So I think more than replacing, we are like helping people do their job the best they can.
You're augmenting. Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, time for one more question. I'll feed it in. How are you guys pricing today?
So right now, we are still, that's like a phase that we are trying to find out. We are not focused that much on the pricing right now. We want to make sure that our agents will deliver the value to the client. So right now we are in a phase where we have like partners, design partners that are already in the Snowflake. So for us right now, we are not charging for these agents. And then that's something that we want to focus on building the right agents. And then once we have these AI agents, then we will start like figuring out what is the way that makes more sense for our client. Is it like based on usage? Is it based on the amount of information that we're helping, or is it by the amount of use cases? But right now we want to make sure that the use case that we are serving are actually solving a real pain.
Great. All right, Enrique, thanks so much. Really excited to watch the Lang AI and Snowflake partnership develop, and appreciate you joining us.
Thank you very much, man.
We will keep it moving. We're going to welcome our second participant, another former colleague of mine, Justin, CTO and co-founder of Genesis Computing. Genesis Computing enables autonomous AI worker GenBots for enterprises, all running securely inside the Snowflake Data Cloud. Justin, welcome. I'll hand it over to you.
As Ben mentioned, we are a multimodal agentic AI platform that runs securely inside the Snowflake account of our customers. We deploy as a native app and are accessible through the Snowflake Marketplace. For customers to get started, they simply need to click on the Genesis Bots button in the Marketplace and then press the Get button. Once they do that, after a couple of minutes, they'll be able to chat with our agentic AI agents. The default agent they'll talk to is Janice. Janice is inspired by a customer of ours. Janice is actually a Snowflake janitor. She can take care of all your Snowflake administrative tasks, security tasks, performance optimization tasks. You can just talk to her about that, and she has defined processes and things she can do to help you make sure your Snowflake account stays top-notch. You can talk directly in this interface in the Snowflake GUI in Streamlit, or you can connect the bots to Slack. So here, for example, I'm talking to Janice through our Slack account, and I've asked her to analyze our spend on Snowflake in dollars. And Janice understands our Snowflake data. She understands where everything is and can create and run queries and graphs. Here she's drawn me a graph using Snowpark Python. She's drawn me a graph of my Snowflake spend. And I noticed a spike there on a couple of days ago, so I wanted to figure out what that was about. So I asked Janice to break out that usage by type of usage. And she did so, and we noticed that there's a spike in AI services on that day. And so I wanted to kind of continue this analysis, and I asked her to then build me a forecast, excluding the outlier. I said, please, excluding the outlier, please build me a forecast of my Snowflake spend going forward. And she was able to go ahead and do that and draw me a new graph and show me the forecasted usage, not including the that spike, which I had figured out how to resolve. Once I do that kind of thing, I can then ask Janice to keep an eye on things in the future and Slack me and email me on a daily basis or whenever anything interesting changes, and she can autonomously take that action and do that for me. Our customers are also deploying business bots that help them with their business. For example, Armin is a financial service specialist bot. Talking to Matt here. Matt is a human. He's my co-founder. He's also a financial service specialist. And he and Armin had a whole conversation about creating a derivatives contract simulated trading schema and stored procedure to help create and maintain derivative trades. I didn't fully understand it all myself, but he and Armin were having a great conversation. Armin created a set of example tables for him. Matt asked him to create a stored procedure and use it to book consistent trades across the schema. Armin went ahead and did that. Matt wanted then to make sure that the positions stayed in sync. So Armin created materialized views and changed the stored procedure. So basically, Matt was doing live coding of not just code, but also database entities and data itself. He then asked for a double entry bookkeeping system, whatever that is. Armin understood what that is, and Armin went ahead and built that for him on top of the structure. So you can see Armin is doing most of the work here. I eventually showed up into this conversation after they were going back and forth for quite a while. And I was trying to figure out as a data person what was going on here. So I said, hey, Armin, draw me an ERD of these tables you created for Matt. And Armin responded to me and said, sure. He explained it. He drew me this beautiful ASCII art ERD. But Armin then also suggested that I use a tool called Mermaid. I'd never heard of Mermaid before, but apparently it's an online system to do ERDs. And he gave me the Mermaid code. So I went over to mermaid.com and I popped in the code Armin gave me, and he showed me the results. Our bots can also talk to you. Let me show you what that looks like.
Hello, Justin. What can I help you with today?
Show me Red Sox wins per year since 2000.
I've retrieved the Boston Red Sox win totals for each year since 2000.
Add the number of losses.
I've added the losses for each year since 2000.
Calculate a win-loss ratio.
The win-loss ratios for the Red Sox since 2000 have been calculated.
Show me this in a graph.
Here is the graph showing the Red Sox wins, losses, and win-loss ratios since 2000.
Show the ratio on a separate axis.
The updated graph with the win-loss ratio on a separate axis is now displayed.
Add additional series for the Atlanta Braves with dotted lines.
The graph now includes additional series for the Atlanta Braves, represented with dotted lines.
Great. So that was a quick demonstration of our multimodal bots through Streamlit, through Slack, and through voice. Thanks.
Justin, awesome. Thank you. It's too bad the Red Sox aren't in the playoffs this year to analyze some of that data, but we'll open up the floor to questions.
Hey, Justin, really great demo. I'm kind of curious how you're thinking about the different types of users who may use these bots. Some of them seem like they are more targeted at advanced users, but I also imagine maybe a new user could use it. Like, how are you thinking about the initial agents you're building and the complexity of queries that you expect your users to run?
Yeah, I mean, the complexity of queries doesn't necessarily correlate with the type of user. A lot of users, I'm sure, would love to run what are actually pretty sophisticated queries. They just don't know how to formulate them. So sometimes we have Snowflake experts who really just want to do simple things, but don't want to have to draft it all themselves, or they want to automate things like the daily check of my Snowflake spend or the daily check of my MFA. They just want to say, it's relatively simple queries, but they just want to have an agent just do that for them and really not even have to worry about it anymore. So the agent will do that and we'll just Slack them or email them if anything happens that requires their attention. And then some of the more sophisticated folks, like that financial services example, the queries kind of fade into the background, really, because you're really just having a conversation at that point about really high sophisticated business topics that I, as a non-expert in that domain, I didn't even understand what they were talking about in a lot of cases. But they were talking in English, and there were sophisticated queries and stored procedures happening, and neither of them really, the bot knew what was going on, but the human didn't have to even think about it, really.
Thanks, Justin, for the demo. Would love to just hear a little bit more around sort of how you think about TAM and, when you think about sort of, say, 5 years from now, what do you see Genesis sort of evolving to from an expansion perspective?
Yeah, well, we've started intentionally in the Snowflake ecosystem because, as we saw in the prior demo, running it as a native application means that customers can just push that turn on button and immediately start using their live production sensitive data directly with the latest AI technologies from Cortex, and also OpenAI, like O1, for example, works pretty well, very well. So that unlocks immediately the ability for any Snowflake customers to push that button, trust it. We at Genesis don't see any data. Nobody at Snowflake sees the data. It's just between the AI running in your account and the data that's in your account. So we think the initial TAM is the 10,000 customers of Snowflake for initially kind of the data janitorial work. The words of one of our customers actually inspired that idea. And then that's kind of our initial kind of hook. We'll just give that away to customers and say, hey, here's a free Snowflake agent that you can do anything really to Snowflake with. And then the real business for us is those domain-specific agents. So as customers then say, oh, great, can this also do my portfolio derivatives quant tracking thing? So sure. And so our plan is to kind of expand and start to capture value and revenue on a success basis for those business domain bots in various verticals as our customers start to deploy those.
Well, thank you.
Sure.
Love that you showcase the Red Sox as a Boston native. Makes my heart happy, but a little sad at the same time, given how they did. Can you talk about how many Gen bots people are creating on average and how often they're engaging with them? Is it daily? Is it weekly, et cetera?
Yeah, I mean, some people are very active and deal with their Gen bot all day long. It's really, kind of like a Copilot to an extent, but that's not our ultimate vision. Our ultimate vision is the Gen bots just kind of become autonomous workers inside your organization, and you would deal with them as you would deal with a colleague. So it depends on the task they do. Some gen bots might just be monitoring things and keeping track of things, and maybe nobody needs to interact with them unless something happens that requires human attention. And others might be used continuously or engage in live Slack conversations together with users. So in terms of number of gen bots, like we see customers deploy, one, and we see others who set up, 10 or more specialists. We have a bot actually called Eve, part of the Genesis kind of mythology here. And Eve is the mother of bots. And you can just talk to Eve and describe what kind of bot you want. And Eve will birth the new bot basically and deploy it to your Slack. And you can then talk to the new bot and give the new bot access to different tools and different data and such. So it really just depends on the use cases and the customers, how many bots they want to end up with.
Justin, thanks for the time. Team, thanks for the great questions. Have a great rest of your day. We appreciate you joining us.
Thank you.
And finally, we will welcome Evan, the CEO and co-founder of Deep Tempo. Deep Tempo helps enable cybersecurity incident identification on security data lakes. Evan, it's great to have you. Welcome, and I'll hand it over to you.
Great to be here and great to follow up on some really cool demos. What I'm going to show you here is, for the first time, the use of deep learning to be able to identify attacks, incidents, as a native app on your Snowflake. So we're a little bit different than what you've seen before. We actually build from the ground up models, and then we deploy them in an efficient way in your Snowflake environment, again, to keep you safer from cyber attacks. And look, you can try it now, right? If you're in the audience, we need you. I mean, we need you. We need a new approach to cybersecurity in general. 2 or 3 slides on that before the demo. I'll just say we're spending a lot of money on cybersecurity, and we're losing. In general, we're losing. We're losing trillions of dollars in attacks. And we think the vision of Snowflake, frankly, with data lakes that are security focused, with apps now starting to run on those data lakes, we think that this opens it up to, frankly, folks in the audience, the developers here, right? We can get a more modular, open cybersecurity industry running, and we need it. There's a lot of burnout in the industry. There's a lot of false positives. So what I'm going to show you is what we call Tempo, which is a log LM. It's a cousin to those LLMs we're all so familiar with, but it's only been trained on security logs. And I should say we got here over the last year thanks to the help of a very large bank in the United States, as it happens, who gave us access to their SuperPod, so lots of GPUs and petabytes of data. We then sit upstream from your SIEM or your security operations, and I'm going to actually show you what it looks like if you are a security operator operating out of a SIEM. How would you see these incidents flow into what you spend your time living in, your SIEM? And the hard ROI here, yes, it keeps you safe. The hard ROI is spend less on that SIEM, keep the data in Snowflake, and hopefully you will see that here. I think we've all seen the data, the Snowflake marketplace. Again, Tempo, type in the word Tempo and find us. Let's go, try it out. You will see a quick start guide, etc. Or even walk you through, if you want to, in your lunch hour sometime, set up a demo of a Splunk account. You may want to do everything natively in Snowflake, and I'll show you how to do that as well. Or you may want to combine the two. So I've cheated slightly. I've already initiated the model here. That first initiation will take a few minutes, and I think I have 4. So let's not spend all of that on initiation. And what's more, this demo includes some data. So you can actually, if you want to, click around and find, we actually use data from the Canadian Institute of Cybersecurity. So we actually know real attacks that did occur, and we're in this demo showing you how to find those better than prior approaches. So here you can see I have already said, hey, Tempo, show me everything, all potential attacks hitting workstations. And this will take a couple minutes to go through a batch of tens of thousands of transactions to identify, eventually over here, you can see in classification some anomalies, right? And so that's cool. That's quite useful. You might want to hack around and maybe combine that, maybe using an agentic helper, combine that with some IP info or other threat intelligence info that you have, so that you can start to maybe drill into, I wonder what else, maybe these external ports, maybe these external IP addresses are actually already flagged and are of concern. And so I should really drill into those. All up, right now, we're seeing an accuracy rate in the 95, 96% rate. What that means is a false positive rate of, a few percent, which is an order of magnitude or more better than existing systems out there. Let's look at it in Splunk. Again, now we're saying there's 23 incidents that have been sent to Splunk. So tens of thousands of records were examined, but we left all of that in Snowflake. 23 incidents were sent downstream to Splunk. So you can do the math on the cost savings right there, right? So it's a significant, you're getting billed basically for your SIMs on data ingestion. And in this case, for this type of data, we're cutting it by 99.99 something percent. And once you're in here, of course, you can drill into what's happening with these different IPs, et cetera. So in short, we need you. Cybersecurity, the spending is going up. The attackers seem to be innovating faster than we are. What are we going to do about it? We think this open modular approach, and in our case, applying AI to see patterns that otherwise were very hard to see, and to do so with high fidelity, so not flooding your security team with false positives, is a good approach, and try it. Unlike traditional security POCs, which might take 6 months just to get into your environment, you can literally try this over a course of a lunch, a coffee break. So please try it out.
Thank you, Evan. That was impressive to cover so much, so little. We'll open it up to the floor for questions.
Hey, Evan, thanks for the demo. Would love to maybe just hear a little bit more sort of, there's, some companies out there like Cribble that are also focused on sort of reducing the ingestion into Splunk and others. Sort of curious how you see sort of the landscape around this and how you compare.
Yeah, we would run in between Cribble and Splunk on Snowflake, right? So whereas Cribble can, of course, tune those taps down and put less data either into Snowflake or into from there into your Splunk, we're really focused on the learning aspect of it and actually giving you insights into particular patterns of attacks that are occurring. So yeah, we view ourselves as additive, but at the end of the day, the spend that is getting impacted is the legacy SIM spending.
Got it. And then who's the persona that you're selling to? Are you ultimately selling to the CISO, or is it more of the infrastructure leaders?
We've seen it break both ways, to be open, Jordan. And of course, a big reason that we're partnered with Snowflake here is to try to crack the nut on POCs. So we really want to get some self-adoption happening so there are detection engineers, as you know, so they're our best friends, right? They're trying to figure this stuff out already. And for them to be able to deploy, a pretty hefty model, slimmed down to run as a native app, we think that's quite exciting to them. But then the buyer is often the CISO, although we have seen cases where it's a platform. For a design partner, the biggest bank that we've worked with, it's platform. And then the security becomes a customer of the platform, and the platform now has these insights. But in other places, it is still the CISO writing the check.
Awesome. Thanks, Evan.
Evan, can't thank you enough. Appreciate your time and taking us through it. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Cool. And with that, we come to a conclusion. I want to thank all the investors and the startups who joined us today, as well as the Build audience for tuning in. Snowflake has a big ecosystem, and it's very dependent on smart startups inventing new things and bringing new products to market. So it's always fun to check out a few of those startups doing just that, like we did today. Hope you all had fun, and hope you all have a great rest of your Build conference, and we'll see you next time.